Welcome to SEO Hacks, a digital marketing and SEO podcast. My name's Alistair. I'm the CEO of digital marketing agency Oketti. We're all about helping our clients generate more traffic, leads, and sales online. Our host today is Rejoice. For more than 5 years, Rejoice has worked in digital marketing, progressing from a junior SEO executive to an SEO and content strategist. She has made great progress since entering the field, achieving many wonderful things, and has become an authority in it. She co-founded the Be Digital UK network for Black marketers because she is enthusiastic about diversity in the workplace and changing the perception and problems of Black people, especially Black women. Rejoice has had the opportunity to work on numerous brand accounts, including Superdrug, Nestle Waters, HSBC, M&S, and many more, while building Be Digital UK and working full-time in SEO. She began her speaking career by sharing her expertise on SEO and content at major industry events like Women in Tech SEO Fest, Brighton SEO, International Search Summit Barcelona, Turn Digi, White Spark Local Search Summit, and Social Day. Additionally, she was acknowledged and given the Search Engine Land Individual Award for advancing diversity and inclusion. But Rejoice did not stop there. Rejoice was able to turn Be Digital UK into community and media partners for Brighton SEO, PPC Live UK, and International Search Summit, thanks to her diligence and commitment to diversity and inclusion concerns. Rejoice recently joined the two major industry educational publications as a co-author, Majestic SEO in 2022 and Blue Array Mastering In-House SEO 3rd edition, which gave her the opportunity to share her knowledge of content and app store optimization. Last but not least, Rejoice has been highlighted in articles, podcasts, and studies related to her passions for SEO, diversity and inclusion, and encouraging people. She achieved this so well that she was named one of the top 100 content marketing influencers in 2022 by SEMrush and one of the top 22 female marketers to watch in 2022 by Girls in Marketing. Rejoice keeps working to advance her abilities, but more importantly, she makes sure she is giving back to her community by closing gaps and facilitating access to resources so that others there can enjoy the same opportunities she did. Rejoice has been working harder to raise her speaking profile by pursuing more chances abroad so that she can advance diversity and inclusion on a global scale. So welcome, Rejoice. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really good, thanks.
Awesome. So yeah, wow, what a background you have, and you tell us how did you get started on the online world, and what motivated you to, really set up the Digital UK network for Black marketers? Maybe talk a bit about that as well.
Yeah. I guess I fell into SEO because I did a graduate scheme straight after university. So I did a master's in marketing, and I was looking for a graduate scheme, and then I found a company at the time, and the first placement that they put me in was in SEO, and it was meant to be a 3 months rotation, but we were left there for 6 months. So by the time it came to rotating, there was simply no point. So I guess I was kind of destined to be in SEO in a way, and then I kind of stuck with it, and I was juggling between technical SEO or content, and I just naturally gravitated towards content because I do love the idea of content marketing in general. So I stuck with that and sort of advanced my career in that way. So Be Digital came about when I was a global SEO account manager at the time, and I was struggling to find other marketers, not necessarily in SEO, but other marketers that looks like me, black marketers. Because at that time, I was hearing about all of the experts in the industry. It was very white facing, and I was just thinking there must be someone who looks like me and is an expert and is visible. So I decided, well, if we can't see those people, not that they don't exist, if we can't see them, I want to have a community where there are people that look like me. So me and my friend partnered up, and we established Be Digital. We put it out there and we just said, hey, we are we want to start a community of black marketers and we want other black people to join. And it started off as people who were already in marketing, and then it then shifted to black people who were interested in marketing, who wanted to know about marketing, and who did not see marketing as a viable career to advance in, because growing up in an African household, you were told that, you know, the careers that were sought after was like doctors, engineers, lawyers, all of those things. Marketing was not even in that conversation. But obviously technology has advanced since growing up, and we have the digital world, and it just became something really profitable. And I think it's a chance of luck, that, okay, you know, having to convince my parents, yeah, marketing actually works, because my parents wanted me to stay in IT, which is okay. But I think for me it was a beautiful blend, and Be Digital allowed us to prove that no, there is so many remits into marketing. It's not just, people thought it was just social media, but it's not. And that's just how Be Digital was formed, and we've been going on for 4 years now. And we went from it just being a UK members to now we have global members, members from the US, Canada, Nigeria, and you know it is just this healthy, great community, and you know we're here now. So that's the journey of Be Digital.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and so it's been going on for 4 years now,
Yeah.
and wow, and it all started from you and your friend saying, "Yeah, let's create a community of people that look like us,
Yeah.
and yeah, where we can grow and learn from one another." And how many people are part of the community now? And I guess what's your vision for Be Digital? Where would you like to take it in the future?
Yeah, so currently now we have a WhatsApp group, we have a group on Twitter, we have people following us on Instagram. But in terms of like the WhatsApp group and the active members, so we separated it between black women and black men. We're probably 300 members in. Um, yeah, predominantly they are women. And we're trying to now market it more towards men, and we're just trying to build that. But we are like 300 members, and we have like people in different places. So the vision for Be Digital, I think it's interesting now the space that we're at, because we are trying to focus more so on building networks and facilitating connections, and really bringing about other black marketers on board. We have two focus pillars, one being educating, and the other being networking and connections. And we're trying to sort of stay in those two pillars and take it further. So next year we are planning on doing more educational webinars and training, so it can help people upskill. Even those who are entry level can have that ability to learn from other experts. And it is a community effort, because we do have community members who are like directors, agency owners, freelancers, and they've been in the industry for like years, and they want to sort of teach. And and I guess the benefit for them, it propels them into public speaking. So it is a win-win. And the other aspect, could building connections and networking. We want to focus on doing more events, more meetups, more things that we can bring people together. For the future, we hope to be running events in both the UK, US, Nigeria. I'm hoping that next year I can kill two birds with one stone. So when I'm in Nigeria to do a speaking conference, I'm hoping to then do the meetup for those members who are in Nigeria. And when I am in Texas for my friend's wedding, I'm hoping to work out there as well and do a meetup for those who are in the US or who can be around Texas. I don't know. But things like that, we definitely want to be able to have champions in those countries, so they can facilitate meetups without the UK team having to sort of be there in person. And the educational platforms, we just need We have great chances to collaborate with other companies, and just say, hey, would you mind doing a webinar? We can facilitate, it on Zoom and get our members to join. So different things. So that's essentially the idea and the goal. And I'm just hoping next year's going to be quite busy for me, but I'm just hoping. I'm really excited about it because, this year we're putting on a Black History Month event next week, and the reception it's gotten so far, it's been super, super great. So yeah, so that's essentially the plan.
Wow, 300 people. That's a big group. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's good to see you put a lot of hard work into that, and yeah, it sounds awesome with the webinars and events that you've got coming up for that, and um, yeah, great job. So, like, what are the qualifications for joining the community, and yeah, how can Black marketers get involved if they wanted to reach out?
Yeah, of course. So there's no necessarily criteria to join. You just have to be a Black person, or and be interested in marketing, even if you're not currently working. But there are people in the community who are trying to transition. But obviously, it's very hard to transition. You don't want to leave, your income and just completely have nothing. So there are people who are trying to transition quite slowly, but they want to be amongst other marketers who can give them the best advice. And because we post a lot of jobs within the groups, they just want to be able to have visibility, because sometimes they don't have visibility of these jobs. So to join is literally just just be Black, interested in marketing, already in marketing. Even if you are in tech but you do marketing in the tech industry, that is still applicable. Even if you do marketing in the financial industry, as long as it's marketing in any remit, and to sort of join, or I think literally just connect with me on LinkedIn, Rejoice Ojaku, and just send me a message, and I will send over the joining link and what you need to say when you join. That's literally it. There's nothing special. There's no hard criteria, and it's pretty straightforward.
Wow, yeah, sounds great. Yeah, go. We'll put that in the link of the podcast or
Yeah,
the YouTube description so people can find you there. And it's info at beatdigitaluk.com.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And what are some challenges that you face while scaling your community, and I guess other businesses as well that you've worked on from an SEO perspective or a digital marketing perspective, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah. So I'll first speak on in terms of the challenges from an SEO, digital marketing, and I think businesses to sort of scale their business. The main issue I tend to sort of come across when working with clients, and this was like back in the day, the educational value of SEO is not as obvious as it would be if it was PPC. PPC, you can always estimate, like, yes, you bid on this certain keywords, you can see the value because there's a cost attached to it, and that cost can be either reduced, increased, or whatever the case may be, and you can see this keyword's converting, and it's very easy to show the value proposition of PPC and other channels. SEO, because SEO is organic and it depends on quite a lot of factors on the website. It's not just one straight factor. It can be page speed that is impacting it. It can be image sizes. It can be lack of content. It can be, even if you do have content, it can be very rubbish content and you just wouldn't know. So SEO is, very interesting. I think the challenges a lot of businesses have is that they don't understand it. And I think now the biggest challenge is that they don't understand that SEO doesn't sit within a silo. It's not this one thing that just sits on its own. It is so interconnected with all other channels, with social media, with PPC, with PR. It's connected with, even CRM, even, with display. Like there's so many elements that SEO can benefit into that. And I think nowadays people are trying to just have an SEO strategy just for the website. But the issue with that is that the way search is changing and evolving, within it now, consumer journeys don't start on Google. A lot of time the buyer's journey don't start on Google now because of the rise of social media like TikTok, for example. Based on the different searches that people want, be it informational searches, consideration searches, transactional searches, whatever the case may be, a lot of people are now starting on social platforms. So our strategy within SEO cannot just remain based on the website. It needs to include the other remits and factors that traffic is pulling in. We don't get traffic just from organic anymore. We can get traffic coming in from different mediums. So you won't be able to scale if you only consider and only see SEO as just this linear thing and it sticks by itself, is on its own. You have to be able to scale and see how SEO and other channels can form together. So essentially, you want to create an ecosystem, and that ecosystem will allow you to then start scaling up because everything is working accordingly. So that's for businesses and clients. The challenges I faced in terms of growing Be Digital, one is, I guess, because Be Digital essentially it starts as a passion project and we don't make any sort of income from it. Everything is down to sponsorships and partnerships, and which is great. But in the beginning, the challenges we faced was I felt like I had to justify why Be Digital needed to be created, and I felt it was very much from a place of racism, in my opinion, because I just felt like you wouldn't challenge why there needs to be a women's only space. You wouldn't challenge why there needs to be a queer space. You understand these marginalized groups and you understand why there's difficulties in entry to barriers for these marginalized groups. But when it came to black marketers, I felt like we were always challenged with that, until I think I had a conversation about diversity and inclusion. And it was during the whole George Floyd situation happened. I think that's when a lot of companies realized, okay, well, this is a serious topic. And I said yes, because even down to policies from a black lens, in terms of we've had conversations with members who felt like they needed to have a white passing name just so they could be hired, and it wouldn't be overlooked, because if you come in with a non-English name, it may hinder your chances. There's conversations around policies to do with black hair and what that means, and all of those things. So having those conversations was, I felt, as a black person, do I need to be the one really pushing this conversation? Um, but we did get a lot of pushback, and I think how we overcame that was, for me personally, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm sticking to my ethos. But Be Digital is for black people by black people, and it's not to say we don't need allyship, because we have amazing allyship from other non-black people, and it's been great, and they've understood the ethos and they've respected the boundaries. But sometimes it is quite frustrating that I don't want to explain this over and over again. So that was a huge challenge for us. But I think now is not so much of a challenge because we've been about for 4 years, and I'm at the spirit of, well, we're here now. So kind of get used to it in that sense.
That's right. Get used to it.
Get
That's
used
good.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So with Be Digital, the biggest challenge was obviously the racism and
Yeah.
often that, and people pushing back on that side, and then with your own SEO work in particular, it's yeah, I guess communicating to clients the time difference between what is the quick injection of traffic, PPC, and the slot machine mentality versus the long term focus from an SEO
Yeah.
perspective, and the whole
Yeah.
ecosystem which that encompasses, from social media to how Google's crawling, rendering, and indexing your website. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and in terms of your approach, because I know that you mentioned that you focus more specifically on content. That was an area that you enjoyed working on the most. What's your advice around like a content strategy for SEO, and I guess choosing a profitable niche around that?
Yeah. So content strategy is very interesting because content has to be you can't think of content without thinking of your audience, because essentially that's who you're making the content for. You're making content for your audience. So you have to understand your audience before you can start doing any sort of content. And the ways to sort of do that would be through understanding pain points of your audience. What is it exactly that they are struggling with? Or, what is it that they require? So if you understand your audience's pain points, that's a great start. And even like little facts about your audience, and that's why we talk about buyers personas. So if you had an ideal audience, what would that, or an ideal person that would buy your product or buy your service, what would that person be? And I always tell people, go as nitty gritty as you can, because you're not going to obviously speak to all aspects of that audience or that buyer's persona, but go as nitty gritty just to see who they are. So age gap, demographic, salary bracket, area they live in, life situations, are they married, single, with kids? All of these things will encompass what your buyer's persona is. So once you understand your audience, the next thing you got to do is look at what's working currently for you in terms of your content. So you don't want to bypass your existing content, because your existing content can actually be performing quite well. And you need to know what content is performing well, what content isn't, because you start to see the difference. Is it the fact that your blog content performs well better than your video content or content that has video in it? Is it the fact that maybe short form content is performing better than long form content? So once you start to understand, okay, these type of contents brings in quite a lot of traffic, you then can see, can I replicate that strategy? And then I would go into looking at the keywords that comes up for those content, or the keywords that are attached, and seeing, are you seeing that the traffic comes from keywords that have extremely high search volume or extremely low search volume? And it really depends. To find your niche is down to what your business is. So let's say you are an e-commerce brand and you sell skincare, and skincare is essentially your niche. You can actually niche it further down. Skincare is the umbrella. So think about different types of situations skincare will be applicable. Think about it, skincare for different age groups, skincare for mothers, or skincare versus for people who suffer with acne, or skincare for people who suffer with PCOS. The skin types. And now you're breaking your content even further. And once you break it down further, you can then see, okay, what type of content will be suited. The issue people get when it comes to content strategy is they think content only means blog forms. That's not the only type of content we can. Content formats and content variation is so important. So can you deliver the same messaging through infographics, through imagery, through videos, through block forms? And most importantly, any content that you want to put on your website, is that content shareable? Shareable content really does great when it comes to traffic, because you can allow people to share it on Instagram, on TikTok, or wherever they want to sort of share it in. And I think it's because once you do that, you're now taking the content to go and place it in front of different audiences. You're relying on other people to put your content in front of their network and their audience. And that is how your content sort of moves. So content strategy, in my opinion, is not, there isn't like a bulletproof way of doing it, but you can be strategic in how you do it and use different concepts of marketing to help. Consumer behavior, we all know about that. I think, in uni, I learned so much about consumer behavior, but the psychology of how your consumers think is so important, because I think once you tap into it and once you start seeing those trends and those movements, it allows you to sort of approach content in a more fun way. And I think nowadays the most important thing about content is content has to be, it has to speak to an emotion. It has to kind of emotionally connect. People now want to emotionally connect to brands and feel like they're being spoken to, related to. So content has to speak to that emotion. Once you get an emotional connection with your audience, with your content, then they tend to sort of keep coming back. And that allows you to repurpose content, that allows you to form new content, that allows you to think about what topics your consumers are asking about, and you can then use that to create other different formats of content and so on and so forth. So I think that is how I look at content strategy, and I think that's how people should approach it in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were mentioning about repurposing content. What's your advice for repurposing content? What would be your approach to that?
So for you to repurpose content can be different things. So keywords in general, they can change in their meaning and their intent over time. So if you think about it in terms of mask, those face masks that we wore, the intent before COVID, completely different. We would probably wouldn't search for it. The search factor, the search volume before COVID, I don't think was anywhere close. After or during COVID and after, we see that people are. When I was searching for like masks and stuff like that, I was mostly seeing it from a two types of things. I was seeing it from a informational, but those information is wasn't giving me what the mask is it was mostly telling me why I needed it. And number two was transaction, because everyone was selling a mask everywhere. So I saw quite a lot of transactional content. And then I start to see more consideration. So consideration just means you are comparing between two options. So we had the normal mask and the is it the PFF or the FPP2 mask, something like that. So I was always seeing those two types of content consistently. Now, if you were to repurpose that sort of content, you can repurpose content from a different angle in terms of intent. So if, for example, the content you were speaking to was mostly transactional, you can repurpose it and turn it to be informational. So you can take the same topic, and rather than saying people, oh, well, buy this, or you need to buy this and why you got to buy it, give it information about the product or the service in detail. Answer those questions in terms of like, type the topic in on Google, scroll down. If you see a people also ask box, just read the questions of what people are asking and then create informational content about that. Answer those questions, but in a more cohesive or more flowing way that people actually will get. So that's a one way to repurpose content. You can repurpose it based on intent. You can repurpose content based on formats. So once you had a blog post about it, you can repurpose it and create a video. And that video can be more digestible. It can be a short form video that you can use and push on your social platforms and link it back to the blog. Again, you're driving that referral traffic back in. So you can repurpose content based on formats. You can also repurpose content just based on, maybe if you wrote a content based on trends, or especially if you are in these two sectors. Let's say you're in the financial sector or you're in the healthcare sector. Sometimes those information that's really, really key, they might change. You might get an additional information. Policies might be different. So you can repurpose it to update that information, because Google favors new and current updated content that are very, very relevant. So there's so many different ways to repurpose your content. Sometimes people have evergreen content. Evergreen content can be changed as well. So I would say, think about how this particular topic has evolved, and then think about how you've spoken about that topic, and is there a different way to speak about it? Is there a different angle to speak about it? Are people, when people was talking about, oh, they're looking for, glass skin wasn't something we spoke about within skincare a few years ago. So if you wrote about skincare and skincare types a few years ago, and now the concept of glass skin has come about, update it to include that now, because that's new evergreen, a new trend. You can also repurpose content based on if the trends have changed and if the trends is different now, and sort of repurpose it in that way. So I would say that's how you can approach repurposing your content.
What's your advice for um, updating content on a website or an old YouTube video, for example, that isn't performing as well? And have you ever used AI to repurpose some of that content or update some of that old content?
Yes, I think AI would be great if you want to repurpose the content from a different angle. So a good way to do it is you can, if it's like a blog post, you can sort of copy the whole blog on a Word doc and attach it to AI, whether it's Chat GPT, whether it's Claude, it literally doesn't matter. And then you can ask AI to give you new content ideation that still sticks with the same umbrella topic, but asks it content ideation for a repurposed value, because it will start to just feed you different content ideas that you could use to repurpose that content. That's a good way to use AI. I would not use AI to completely rewrite the whole thing, but let it give you content ideation for repurposing. So taking what you commonly have given it and just asking it, can you give me a different ways to repurpose it, but give it to me in content ideations. And then you can take that and, and you can ask it what for each of these content ideation, what would be the best content formats to produce it in, and you can see what it gives you. You can decide for yourself based on what's been working for you on your website and what hasn't. On the website, to repurpose it, the content, the most easiest way, the most quick win way is see if the keyword has been updated in terms of has the keyword changed in intent, and then update your metadata. Just update your metadata when it comes to if you are looking at it from a meta title, meta description, update the subheadings within the blog. If it is a blog you're trying to repurpose, update the H1s, H2s, add in more relevant key terms. If you now, and you can also update and repurpose it by maybe adding citations. So if you are talking about a topic that is impacting people's finances, people's health, whether it's a mortgage blog or whether it's insurance, whether it's healthcare, are there any actual reputable, academic papers that you could link to and add that in as a citation? And that would enhance how Google sees it. That okay, this is new. You've added a new information in. You've added an outbound link that it coincides with what you're talking about. So there's so many quick ways to do it on the website, but sometimes it can just simply be address it from a different angle completely, and then refer to the old blog within the new blog as a hyperlink. That way you are improving your internal linking strategy and keeping everyone on the blog, but your audience can see this is an updated content because it spoke about it in 2000, 2020, and now in 2024 is now speaking about the same topic, but is now addressing an even more smaller niche within that topic.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. And what do you see as the future of authority websites, SEO, and digital marketing? What are your thoughts on the future of those?
So for websites to have really good authority, they need to start. I would say we're not when we're writing blog posts for authority, we need to go back to old recipes and just approach it as you would any university school degree that you were doing. You added citations. You backed up your point. We're not writing things using PEE, point, evidence, explain. And I think if we start to address our blogs in that way, we're giving a point, we're giving the evidence, we're explaining it to our audience. The future of authority website is the website that answers the user's query, answers it directly, or provides more information to answer it. Especially now that Google has introduced Google AI Overview, you're now competing against websites who it's no longer okay whether you're on the first page or whether you're position 5. Those are still important, but now it's like, are you being pulled by now optimizing it to be pulled within AI, because it talks about the quality of your content. So think about how you're making your content relevant, and it's not relevant for AI or relevant for Google, but make it relevant for your audience. if you're answering what the audience wants, it will, be better in terms of, your how you present your content and how Google looks at it. Another point would be, if you are, I think, for the future of SEO in general, like I said earlier, social SEO will take off because simply our users are just not, they're not Googling first and then going to social media. They're going to social media and then they're Googling. So you need to now be able to consider how social SEO works. If you have a brand page on TikTok or brand page on Instagram, think about the SEO on those, because those still have search functionalities. People can search via hashtags, people can search via different keywords. Social media has its own keywords that it generates and has its own search volumes that it generates within that. Especially now that Google is has added TikTok videos on the SERP features, it comes up. So if I search certain keywords and someone has a very good TikTok video that Google feels answers the queries because he's added a link to it or he's added a hashtag to it, it will come up as a search feature. Same way as we had carousels and we have answer boxes and so on. Now Google actually offers those results, those videos as results. So really look into social SEO. Social SEO, I think, for me, I'm really excited about, because it's like finally it's not separate. It's now so merged, and even how the algorithms are working on these social platforms is crazy, because now we are able to add different elements, especially TikTok. It's really booming, and now TikTok allows you to see even the analytics page is so detailed. You can now see the traffic it's generating. So you have to now look at your marketing strategy, not just, oh, you have a social media strategy, great, you have an SEO strategy, great, but how can we combine those two strategies together to work together quite well? And the one way to do that is through your content. Of course, social media SEO will still consider the technical aspects of it. That's fine, and that's still important. But in terms of generating that traffic, generating that visibility, it is going to be down to what strategy we're using to enhance the content and where we are going to find our users. A lot of your users won't be found on search engines. Some will, but a lot of them will start off on your brand page on social platforms. And that's how they'll get to you. So if you don't even have your website linked on your brand socials, you've missed like a key step, like a really good way of driving referral traffic back.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the way it's going, really, isn't it? With
Yeah,
having social media content that is, and you were talking about repurposing content before, and you could just use your blog content, for example, as the script for
yeah,
your YouTube content, and then what could you do with that YouTube content? Then you can create shorts with that, and with those
yeah,
shorts, you can then put that on TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and all these different social media platforms, and really just
exactly.
leverage your brand that way, just from that one piece of content that you wrote that time ago. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
exactly.
I completely agree. And what advice would you give to someone just starting out in this field?
I would say when you start out with SEO, um, don't be too quick to niche down. Don't, give all facets of SEO a go. So really know the technical, really know the on page, really know the off page. Not in like a in-depth way, but have an experience in it until you decide what you like, what you don't like. Because I feel that's very useful. Because a lot of the time people come into SEO, might come into SEO and say, oh, I know I love content, so I'm not even going to look at technical. But you still need to understand technical for it to work, because if you look at technical SEO is how I see it in my head. It might not make sense to people, but technical SEO is the structure of the house, is the build, is how you build the house, is the stability of the house. Content SEO is the furniture, how you now design it, the decor and the on page, or the elements. That's what you put inside the house. So you need to understand the structure of your house in case something goes wrong, and it's a platform level. You need to understand how that will impact, impacts everything else. So my advice would be someone coming in is definitely don't niche down too quickly. Try to actually give yourself time to look through what SEO is, and don't think you can't be creative in SEO. I think it's so easy to stick with how it used to be and how people used to do things. The beauty about SEO is your thought process and your insights and your approach matters so much, because if you can do something that is more efficient, saves more time, gives you the same results because you found a good way to do it, go with that. And don't think that because you're junior, your perspective doesn't matter. It does, because how you have seen and how you have approached something is so valuable, because other people who are so stuck in their ways of doing a certain way might really benefit. Okay, well, someone found a faster way to do it and it saves a lot more time, then that's great. So I always tell like people who want to get into SEO, it can be quite mundane sometimes, but you have to definitely find an industry that you love. Because for me, I feel like SEO, you can feed it into your passion. One of my friends absolutely loves fashion. She's a fashion girl. She does SEO for fashion brands. She merges two things because her knowledge about the fashion industry helps her, because she understands consumer behavior, because she understands how the fashion works, she understands how the timeline of certain season works, so she knows, okay, can I match this to our campaigns? If you love gaming, there's SEO in those gaming industries. If you love finances, there's SEO in the financial industry, because those people still need visibility. So don't think that you need to do away with what your passion is at. I absolutely love e-commerce. I love selling things. I love products. I love marketing, advertising when it comes to e-commerce brands. So I've mostly worked for e-commerce brands, selling all sorts of things, from water to hair products to kitchen accessories, because it's just interesting. So always consider your interest in SEO, and don't feel like your interest and SEO has to sit separately. They can sit together. You just have to find a way. You just have to find either the right agency. If you want to go into an agency, if you don't want to go into an agency and you want to work directly for the company, then find the right company in the industry that you want to work with. So if it's beauty, work directly for MAC, work directly for Fenty, because you enjoy the beauty industry. If you don't want to do that, find an agency that has beauty clients beauty companies as your clients, and do it that way.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I guess last question, which is, where can people find you, and do you have any other like final comments that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I'm always on LinkedIn, Rejoice Ojaku. You can find me there on LinkedIn, always posting, always just there somewhere. So more than happy to connect on there if you have any additional questions, more than happy to answer them. And I think, for me, I think my final thoughts around SEO would just be, it's a fun industry. It's a fun industry. Definitely go to any SEO events. Go to them. You will meet a lot of interesting people. It is a global community in general. I've met lots of people who do SEO in all in a lot of countries. From the UAE to Africa to the US, the UK, and it's just really really nice. It's a great community. One thing about SEO is you will always have to keep learning new things, and it's fun. Don't think that SEO is somewhere that you don't have to keep educating yourself. You do, because new things come about, algorithm comes about, and you just need to know how it works. But I would say have fun with it, because it can be very very fun.